do differently now is I always take my product that I create and then I Photoshop Amazon and I Photoshop into Amazon first page and I ask myself this question: why should people buy mine? And if I don't have an answer, why should people buy mine? I don't launch it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Zoncom podcast. This is Andrew Erickson, your host as always. Today I'm here with Anatoly Spektor. He is one of my friends inside of Titan. He is a Amazon seller and the host of a podcast. Anatoly, thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm honored to talk to you every time we talk. You bring so much value. So for me, it's an honor, man.
It's so nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Anatoly, why don't you tell us? You have a podcast. The name of the podcast is the 10 Million Journey, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the preface of that, and we'll get into the full story. Why don't you give a little intro on your podcast and kind of a little bit of your journey before we jump into your full story?
Sure. Well, my podcast is also Amazon-related podcast, like many others, like yours. I love all of them, but mine has a little twist on it because I found that on many podcasts, people don't talk about failures. They talk about successes. They interview people who are amazing, and this is very good. It's very inspiring. But for me, I was like, when are these people failing? What's going wrong with them? Because I keep on failing all the time. For me, it's never like a smooth ride. So at some point I decided like maybe I should share my failures and see if people can relate. So I decided to scale my business to 10 million and record how I do that with all the numbers, everything I do, every failures I do. I just don't share my products yet. As an Amazon, if you do share, the people can jump on it early. So that's the only thing I don't do, but I talk about like, oh, somebody screwed me over or my product is suspended and people like send me messages and I told you that's amazing. We can relate. And then I also talk to amazing people. So once a week, I do interviews as well with amazing people who are several steps ahead, like yourself, for example. And I ask people questions. What advice can they give me? And share their stories as well and talk about their struggles. So it's my accountability tool. I really consider that to be an accountability tool because every time I share something, well, it's out there. Now I'm accountable to people to do things. So I think that's the main gist of my podcast, and
Nice.
I enjoy it a lot.
Nice. I love it. Well, that's why we edit this podcast to get rid of all the mistakes. Well, I am perfect all the time, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I love that. Cool. And I will be joining you on your podcast later on. I think we're recording the end of May, so I don't know when it'll be published. But do you publish like right away, or is it a little bit of a lag?
A little bit of lag. We have couple of them pre-scheduled, but we'll make sure to get you on time. So
perfect. Okay, so let's look June-ish maybe for that. So
yeah.
Anatoly, I want to know your story. I can sense a little bit from your accent that you're probably not an American. So where are you from?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not Canadian, even though I'm Canadian citizen. But I mean, I consider myself Canadian because I lived in Canada for most of my adult life. But I was born in Latvia, which is in Eastern Europe. People might not know it. It's next to countries like Estonia and Lithuania, which people don't know either. So I would say next to Russia, Ukraine, so somewhere there, like Eastern European country, post-communism country. So when I was growing up, the Soviet Union collapsed, this big country that was like overpowering communistic country where there's no entrepreneurship. If you're an entrepreneur in communism, they will send you to Gulag and then you'll be in trouble. So there was no communism. People were just working on regular jobs. Like my dad and my mom before was working regular jobs. Everyone's engineer or like librarian, those regular communistic workers jobs. And so when it collapsed, there was some entrepreneurship, but I would never see like good examples of people being entrepreneurs. Like somebody would make money like United States all the time. People like, somebody was broke and then they're millionaires. So that does not happen really in Latvia. People who would be rich, they might be like gang members or politicians or something like that, but not really true entrepreneurs who made self-made entrepreneurs. I would not see that, and my life there would be fine. Like, I from middle class family. My dad was is still doing some business, but I was always didn't know what to do in my life. So that was a big trouble. I think people who are listening might relate. Like when I was like 18, I was partying all the time. I did not know what to do. I mean, like, I was totally lost. At some point, I was like, maybe I should change something in my life. It was the first decision I made myself, because before I was just like following what my parents said: go to this university, go to this school. So I was sitting in an expensive university learning entrepreneurship, and I did not know what to do with my life, and was like completely wasting it, like not going to school, partying, like doing nothing. And then at some point it was like enough. Like, I didn't know what to do. I need to change something. Otherwise I would just go insane, I guess. And then I decided to move to Canada by myself. So thankfully, my parents were able to support me to go to study in Canada. But I made a mistake again. I was like, I'll do the same thing I did in Latvia, just back in Canada. And then I went to Canada and I started partying there. And I went to like management school. And something was changing when I was talking to one guy in Canada. I was like, I'm studying management. He asked me, but who are you going to manage? And I'm like, really? Who I'm going to manage? I don't know. He's like, well, usually managers are grown. Like, you're working somewhere and then you become a manager because you know things. But if you're a manager right away from school, who are you going to manage? I'm like, nobody asked me that question before. That's a good question. And I'm like, damn it, I don't know. And I was so bad at this school. And in Latvia, I was like the worst of the worst. And in Canada, I was so bad in school that they told me they had the only one, I think. They sent me to criminology. They said criminology does not require any exams or anything. Like, for the worst students, I have nothing against criminology, but that's what they tell me. The only thing you can go to from here with your grades is to criminology. And I'm like, what is that? They're like, we don't know. It's criminology. Go there. And I'm like, I think we need to change something again because I'm failing. And I like Canada a lot. So this first time I had this responsibility. If I want to stay here, I need to do something important. So I decided to switch gears and just go and study in college, not in university, because college is all about applying things, university about learning theory. And I'm not good learning theory. And I understood that. So then I went to software development myself. I told my dad, you know what? I'm just going to quit this and go to other place. He's like, this is a worst idea because college is something that I don't know about. I just know universities. Like, in Latvia, you need to go to university, all this kind of thing. So very traditional. But college is something, you drop out, go to college, you just get a diploma, not like a degree. But I did that. And interestingly enough, I went to software development because I was like computers, right? And if in Latvia, I was the worst student ever. In management school, they wanted to kick me out of it. I finished software development with president honor list. So I was so good that I was number one in the whole
Wow.
freaking year. So I was like the best student, a straight A's and A pluses because I took it seriously. First time something I understood that if I take something seriously and if I choose myself, and not nobody forces me, then I am responsible. When I'm responsible, I can do amazing stuff. And at the same time, when I was working, when I was studying, I started making connections, and I worked for like internship in one of the biggest companies, Red Hat. They do like
Mhm.
Linux, and they do like a whole bunch of things. So they hired me for I think like $20 an hour, which is amazing. Like a student, they're hiring somebody internship for $20 an hour, and then they're like, "We like you so much, we want to give you a contract while you're working while you're studying." Work for us part time. So I worked for them part time, and then when I finished, I already had like one of the best places on earth gave me already the work. So then I will find the job. Like when I finished, like a couple companies wanted to approach me right away. So I choose a startup.
That's
Sorry, I'm
awesome, man.
losing my voice.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. Let's unpack that story a little bit too. I want to know a little bit more about the very beginning. So, were you born in the Soviet Union? Are you old enough for that?
I was born in Soviet Union, yes, but it collapsed when I was like 4, so I cannot tell you more about it.
Oh, okay.
I
So I guess
mean, yeah, yeah,
it sounds like probably exactly the same age then, because
yeah,
the
yeah,
close
yeah,
one
yeah,
was I think 3. One of my early
yeah.
memories is my dad driving into the driveway and then stopping and not turning off the car and saying, "Listen, Andrew, listen to this. This is big news." I'm like, "What? I don't get it." He's like, "The Soviet Union's falling." And at like 3 or 4 years old, I was like, "I have no idea why
Yeah.
what's happening. I don't know, right?" But I just remember him stopping the car in the driveway and like, "You gotta listen to this," right? So one of my early memories is that. So, but I guess
Wow.
sounds like you don't really have any memories of it either, or you just remember
No,
the
no. I
fall.
just remember currency changed, so we started to travel because my mom loved to travel. And first time we went to like Miami, and I was three
Oh
years old.
wow,
So that's when it collapsed, and we started traveling. And then they changed currency. They devalued the national currency. They implement the new currency. Crazy stuff. And then yeah, things we started to happen very
nice.
very quickly.
So
Yeah.
you go to Canada and you start school, and then you said, I guess to an American audience, university and college is the same thing. So I guess when you say college, you mean like a vocational school or like kind of a community college type of thing?
In Canada, university is where you get a degree, like a bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
In college, you would get like a diploma for like just like a. It's not a degree. You're not a bachelor. You're not like a. You're just a diploma. I guess. Professional education. I would call it that way. I
Got it.
guess.
Got it.
So yeah, yeah. I didn't know it's the same in United States, but makes sense.
Perfect. And then okay, so then you become an engineer and you're making the big bucks as a big software developer, and then you stayed as a software developer for the rest of your life, right?
No, no,
No,
no.
okay.
The big problem with like I started to work from school in this startup, and the guy was like, and I told them, "You're gonna pay me this," and they'd be like, "Okay, $80,000, $80,000." I was like, "You're paying me $80,000 from school? That's crazy!" But they did. So I was like, "Okay, we now have lots of money, I guess." And I was like, just from school, I had my girlfriend who later became my wife, but I did not have any like expenses or debts, nothing. I was just like, amazing, let's do that. The problem is in startups, you need to work a lot and it's like nonstop. And then I worked for this guy, CEO. We were like together, we're building stuff. He's an amazing guy, great visionary. He made me a manager later, so I managed the whole team. I was like really nice. And then we had this big client, and then the client left. And then I was like, he's like, oh, we don't have any job now. So everybody is like, bye bye. So I'm like, okay, I invested my soul into this. We're building this tool that now nobody's using, and I'm like, damn it, it's so bad because I love it so much. I mean, it drives me like this was so good, and then yeah, it just collapsed. And then I'm like, I'll find another one. So I like charity, I like giving back. So I found this charity startup. I moved to Vancouver from Toronto. I found this amazing charity startup. I'm like, I'm gonna do charity. I'm gonna do good. I'm gonna build build this product. So I worked there. It was also amazing. I found cool people to work with, good friends with me now. But then the new management came and they're like, we're gonna change it all. And I'm like, damn it, I disagree. And then I had to leave again. And then second time after that, I mean, like, I need to change something. This is crazy, like because I cannot give my soul when somebody else controls the outcome. I think that's the worst because I love it, but somebody else just comes in and they just ruins it all. So it better be me. So at some point I was in management. I was running those teams, and I learned that I'm very good at organizing people. So there's this frameworks in software development where you need to organize a big teams of developers, designers, product managers, and I was really good at that. So open a consultancy to help teams do just that. So I would come and I would help them to organize themselves. And because I was a developer, I understand development side. For me, it was very, very easy. There's not a lot of developers who have also the skills to organize people. And I would get a contract with a huge telco, which was like a S&P 500 company, one of the biggest in Canada. They gave me contracts, so I would go there. I worked with them. Amazing money, like huge, even more money. I would be like, now I'm really good. But the work itself, you go there, you sit in the office, you still need to just sit there, and like they control your vacation time, they control everything. And you're like, I don't know. It's just so hard because you need to be in the office, and for me, office is like it kills me. uh, and why? I remember like side story for people. I think it's important one. When I was in management school in Latvia, they like we need to go. You need to do internship because if you do not do internship, you don't finish. And they put me in a bank. So when I came to a bank, I'm a student. They're like, you need to wear a suit. I'm like, okay, I bought a suit. I never wear a suit. I bought a suit. I came to the bank. They're like, now you need to go to the basement and work on those some stuff, like move some stuff, move some papers around. And I would move some papers around day in, day out, day in, day out. I create a system, like create a system to do it, and I would do it most efficiently. But I would wear a suit and it would get dirty. So next day I would come in the jeans. And this lady was like, Anatoly, I need to talk to you. She invited me to her office. She's like, you're not wearing suit today. I'm like, I'm sitting in the basement. Nobody sees me. I'm like a small slave in the basement. You want me to wear a suit? That doesn't make any sense. She's like, if you're not wearing a suit, we're not gonna, you can't come to this job. And I remember this in my head. And for some reason, office and this dress code makes me like anxious. And working in this very corporate environment also makes me very anxious. I'm like, people there to, and I know a lot of people there because I worked there for a year. A lot of people might say this, I want to get there to retire. I'm here to retire. They're 30 years old, they're sit there to retire. Blows my mind. They're like, when I retire, I'm going to travel. I'm like, but I want to travel now. I don't know if it's going to survive. I mean, I need to travel now because things can happen. Like, I'll have 5 children, I won't be able to travel. So it was
But
crazy.
it's
And
impossible. You have to have a boring day job and do boring stuff all day and work for the man. And then eventually when you're 68 years old, then you can have enough 401k and social security that you can then retirement plans and pension plans that you can
exactly.
then you can do something kind of cool even if you're too old to do it. That's There's no other way of doing it other than that. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So that definitely killed my spirit. At that point, I realized the only way I can do it is to create some assets for myself, assets that can work for me, assets that I can sell, assets that can allow me to travel, to be independent. And I think that was one of the most important realizations. And it happened even before opening agency. Like, I was running with a guy when I worked for charity. We go for a run. One of the perks we had, we can run anytime we want. So we'd go for a run, a beautiful Stanley Park in Vancouver during the day. And he was like, maybe, and he in the same boat. He was like, I don't know, I don't like this company anymore. Maybe we should start something. And he told me about the book For Our Work Week, which is a popular book that everybody knows, but I'm just gonna put it one here because that's also impacted me. And he talked about like being location dependent. I was like, I need that. This is exactly what I need because I love to travel, and my wife loves to travel. We also need to make some money, and then we're like, let's start something. And he's like, well, why don't we do a thing called drop shipping? I'm like, what's drop shipping? That sounds weird. He's like, well, you don't need any money. You just find some manufacturers, and then you ask them to sell the product on your behalf. So you just create a storefront, and then when people buy from you, they send the product to people. I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. So we're like, let's pick a product. And I always like to find somebody who already did that. So we got like a course. We paid some money for a course, and the course they're like, you need to find something expensive, you need to find uh something that they cannot buy in like Walmart. Like, okay. So for some weirdest reason in the world, we chose storage sheds. There's like huge things that like in your it will be in your patio or whatever, like a garage where you can store boat or like other stuff. And for some reason we decided to do that because they were expensive, they were like big, and we're like, whoa, this is a great idea. And they would cost about $15,000, some of them $7,000, some of them like $3,000. We contact some manufacturers. It was hard, but then we get some wholesale accounts and we open a Shopify store. We're like, yes, now we're gonna be rich. And nobody buys those shirts. And they were like, damn it. And we did some work, we did some Facebook advertising. At some point, people start to buy those shirts. And then the problems came. I thought the problems people not buying it, but the problems are people start calling me. And if you know me, I cannot assemble an IKEA table if you give me an instruction. Like, impossible. Like, I just cannot. I'm an engineer. Like, I can do complicated systems in the computer. But if you give me like assemble a table or something, I would not be able to do that. So people calling me like, hello. I'm like, hello. I have this big storage shed that I don't know how to assemble. Can you please tell me if this like 3 feet or 4 feet thing fits here? And can I put my bowl that is like this size? And I'm like, I have no idea. And I'm like, let me call you back. So I would call a manufacturer. I'll ask those questions. They'll be like, are you a legit seller? Like, do you sound like really, really bad? And I'm like, damn it. And then the other problem was I would sell something. I remember one time we sold a shed for $7,000. I'm like, yes, we're finally making money. And the money was like $300 or something, not too much. And we divided on three people because my wife was working as a partner then, this guy. And I would call manufacturer like, yes, we need to order one $7,000 shed. We bought it. They're like, we're out of stock.
Oh
Like,
no.
is that's impossible? Like, I just sold it. Like, I spent so much money on my ass to sell this freaking thing, and you're out of stock. They're like, yeah. I'm like, where's gonna be in stock? They're like, I think we're discontinuing this, so maybe never. And I'm like, what's supposed to do? Like, maybe offer them something else. I'm like calling them and offering something else. I'm like, this doesn't work. It's very stressful, and I believe that anything you do is supposed to be fun. And there's stress component in that, but most of the time you need to have a joy. I was so stressed out, and this guy was who we were working with was stressed out. We decided to part ways because we were doing the same thing. You need to find the partners who contribute different things to the relationship. We were the same people. We're just sitting there and stressing out. That was all our job that we did. So we decided to part ways. I think he's doing it great now. I'm doing what I'm doing. So we're part ways. And then I was still working in this consultancy that was draining me. We're thinking about traveling. They were like, I don't know what to do. Let's try something else. So we decided to try print on demand t-shirts because that was better. It was cheaper. Not out of stock, not a problem because they would print on demand. So would open Shopify store, somebody would buy something and then would sell the t-shirt. But then the other problem came. I'm not a very creative person. I mean, now I think I'm better in this because I read a lot and I try to study that. But you need to find a trend, and then you need to just find a designer who will design things for a trend. And trends change all the time. So the whole day you're sitting there looking for trends. I mean, spying your competitors mostly and stealing their designs, redoing their designs. That's what people do in this industry. But it would be stressful as well. And the margins were also not that good because they would, I mean, people don't buy a lot for t-shirts, don't pay a lot for t-shirts. You might, I don't know, they might pay, I don't know, $30 maximum. So we would be like selling it. It would doing better, much better, because we don't have those calls, and it would be more fun, but it still won't be even close, unfortunately. And I'm still working this job, draining job as a consultant in this big telco, making a lot of money and nowhere to invest it. I'm investing into stocks and other stuff, but I want to invest in a business. I don't know what to do. And at some point, we stumbled onto Amazon. I think there was this course, Amazing Selling Machine. I think many people went for that. And I would see that their ads would pop up, and I'm like, cool. We should try that. And we decided with my wife to take some part of our savings. And I was spending a lot. So even if I was making a lot, I was still spending a lot. So I did not have a lot of savings. So $5,000 for a course was a lot of money for me at that point. And we would just take our money from our savings and put it into this. We're like, we are dedicated. We're going to do this now. We're going to kill it. And we went for the course, which was a good idea. I think that's a great idea. The course is great. I'm not bashing course. I think it's one of the most amazing things. If you want to start, you need to start with a course because they teach you how to set stuff up. It's very hard. Sorry, I speak a lot. You can you can stop me if I it's a long story, so I'm trying to say it in a short
Which
way. But
ASM level were you, or ASM number were you?
I think 7, something like that. So it was 2017 or 16. So
Yeah, it's
ISM
funny. I
7
actually
or
I never took a course personally, but I just was obsessed with podcasts, and the big one that I listened to was the Amazing Seller, not the
Amazing
Amazing
Seller.
Selling.
Yeah, this guy's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, Scott Volker. He rebranded it to Rock Your Brand podcast, which I don't like as much now, but
Yeah,
but he's the one who got
same.
me into Amazon and started with all that stuff. But it was nice doing it for free. But now that I kind of look back on it, I kind of think I might have gotten a lot farther, a lot faster if I had taken a course.
Yeah, but also your mind is different. You're very analytical. You're very good at applying things. So I'm not as good. I mean, I would miss things, a lot of things. So our brains work different ways. So for you, I can see how you learn from podcasts. I need somebody to hold my hand. That's the only way it works. But thankfully, my wife was doing most of the. She's really good at, like, as you, focusing on one thing and doing it. So she would be setting stuff up, doing like all those setups, and I would be just looking for products. And they're telling you really good stuff. And I'm not bashing the course. I think it's an amazing course, and I recommend to many people. Their idea is to find what sells and sell that. And the point, I did not understand the concept very well. I was like, I just need to find what sells and sell the same thing. And I think that worked for some time. But I think when I took the course, it changed a little bit. So it did not work that well anymore because right now, this approach is not working very well. I mean, the idea is there. You need to find what works and then you need to improve on it or do better, quality better, and create something special. But for me, I was like, we found lots of things again. Then we spent some time looking, and then we found those green binoculars. And we're like, green binoculars. Green is a color that sells well. That's my thinking. There's lots of green binoculars on the first page. It was kids binoculars was a keyword. Well, let's sell green binoculars. And then I'm like, okay, so we look for it. We did some comparison. Looks good. We found Chinese factories, and then I was like, I need to add something to it because I need to be better. And I asked my supplier, what do you have? Like, oh, we have this magnifying glass. It's like a small black magnifying glass. You want to take that? I'm like, yeah, let's put that in. We'll have an Explorer Supplies kit.
There you go.
And then we're like, yeah, let's launch it. So it took us about 5 months to launch, so it wasn't that smooth. But at some point, it was like, boom, on Amazon. We're like, finally, it's on Amazon. Now we're going to be rich. And guess what happened? There's no sales, like zero sales. We
Uh-oh.
bumped PPC, zero sales, and nothing. It just no sales. We tried a bunch of things, no sales, and I was like, damn it. And at one point, I remember I was staying in line for a ski like we're doing skiing, and I was like ski lift. I was in line for ski lift in Whistler, doing skiing, and I would look at my Amazon app, and I was like refreshing it, and it would have like 7 sales, and I'm like, damn it. For some reason, I would get 7 sales organic. I don't know why. Maybe our competitor went out of stock. Maybe Amazon sent email with our thing, but we get 7 sales. I'm like, damn it. I just have 200 units. I'm running out of stock, and now people are gonna buy my thing. And I created this whole idea in my head how amazing everything's gonna go. They're like, we need to order more. Let's put $10,000 down and order 1,000 more units.
7 units like
So,
in one day.
yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then the next
you
day
have
we might have
one
like,
day of history, and then you're like, we're going to
well,
continue
the
that for the
next
next
day we
six
might have
months.
like, yeah, like, I mean, mistakes.
Sure.
You learn when you do things. So the next day we did maybe 3 units, 4 units. So it went up a little bit for some
Yep.
reason. Maybe it was some Mother's Day or something, camping time. I don't know. But it went for a week and then it dropped. But we already ordered 10,000 units. So when it dropped, I'm like, oh no, now we're gonna be screwed completely. So those units came. We were like, damn it, I don't know what to do with them. And then we struggled a lot. We sold them on a Q4. So I think it took us a lot to sell. We sold them at the price. So I think we lost about $3,000 there. So we made maybe, yeah, we lost $3,000 in this binocular. So it was a terrible
You sold all
idea.
10,000 though.
No, we ordered 1,000. We put
Oh.
10,000 units. Sorry, we ordered 1,000 units and put $10,000 for investment. So they cost us
Okay.
10,000,
I
which is
was gonna say
also
10,000
ridiculous.
units. I'm like that's
No,
a
no, no, no,
lot.
no, no, no,
You got
no.
to get through.
Yeah, sorry. It was $10,000 and it was 1,000 units, which is still a lot when they don't sell. So we were able to sell them in Q4, which is really good. We lost some money because they did not go very well, and I learned a couple of things that I want to share maybe with your listeners who are starting out. First, what I do differently now is I always take my product that I create, and then I Photoshop Amazon, and I Photoshop into Amazon first page, and I ask myself this question: why should people buy mine? And if I don't have an answer, why should people buy mine? I don't launch it. Because if you have zero reviews and you have the same products as everyone else, and if I have some images, I might send it to you and you put in a show notes for people to see. The first page was my binoculars looking the same as everyone else's. People have thousands of reviews and I have zero reviews. So it's definitely people should just think, why should you buy yours? So at some point, thankfully, we started the second product, which I also can talk about. Um, one of our friends has issues with like getting pregnant and issue with female issues. One of my wife's friends, and she was using this thing called inositol, which was thing that I guess solves this issue. And when you Google that, they would use inositol, mayo, and decairo, two ways, and they would use two of them together. But nobody was selling them together. Everybody was buying them separately and eating those two pills separately. So at some point we were like, this sounds like a good opportunity, and all the listing at that point looked like very dull, not women related. So we created like this pink label, amber box, and would combine those two together. And when we put in the first page, when I Photoshop on the first page, mine would look like will pop up, would speak to women, and would also do research on Reddit. There was about 60,000 people on Reddit interested in this polycystic syndrome, which was the I guess issue that people are trying to solve with inositol. So amazingly, we launched and it started selling amazingly well right away, zero reviews. And right now, most of the products I try to launch, they do sell without reviews. So people say, Anatoly, how do I get reviews? Why my product is not selling without reviews? My answer is maybe your product's not good enough. because if you spend a lot of time differentiating and thinking how you can get better, use tools like PickFu that allows you to split test you and your competitors and choose, like listen to people, and you launch something like that, people buy your 0 reviews. Maybe not a lot, but they would buy your product with 0 reviews. People start buying our inositol, which was amazing. They will start making money. You want to ask something?
Did you do a proper launch? Did you use PPC or just had like good packaging and good marketing and stuff like that to get it going?
Yeah, so both with binoculars we did giveaways. At that point, not the giveaways. At that point, there was popular to do discounted units. So we would give lots of discounted units.
Yeah, the deep discount thing.
Deep discount.
That's gone away for anybody who's listening. Don't do the deep discount thing.
Don't do that anymore. So we did the same with inositol, but it would rank easier. Like it would rank right away, and it would stick there because people buying it like crazy. We would sell about 20 units a day with 0 reviews. It was so amazing. And at some point, I was very, very happy, but Amazon does not like when things going well, or at least it might look like, but you'll get into trouble anyway. No matter what you do, you need to be prepared for that. And I'm not scaring people. I'm saying that you will get in, something will go wrong, so you just need to be prepared for that. We would get email from Amazon that would say, we removed your listing because you have a claims that are blah blah blah, and we just start selling supplements. We didn't know anything about claims. We put like a disease name into title, and you cannot do that. This is against like Amazon terms of services, against FDA. So this is not good. So we did not do proper research on supplements, but we just decided to launch quickly. Mistake. We did source it from United States. It was a good supplier. Everything was great, but this part we missed. So they're like, now you need to remediate that and get back to us. So we removed all the claims and we get back to them. And they usually plan like 3 weeks. We're losing money. We send them things. They're applying 3 weeks. Like, no, this is not enough. And we're like, damn it, 3 weeks passed. We're losing so much money. We do it again. Nothing. We removed like everything. We hired a lawyer to remove stuff from it, and they removed it. We give it back to Amazon. They're like, nothing. Meanwhile, competitors start to come with the same similar packaging. They start to get reviews, and we're like losing. Prices go down. It's like crazy things happening. Like, damn it, we need to do something about it. Then we do like somebody's like, write Jeff@Amazon.com. And I write letter, Jeff, what's happening? You're like, everything is going bad. You need to fix it. Somebody from his team replies, we looked at it. It will never be instantiated. Remove your product. Like nothing is going to be done here.
Oh, no.
I'm like, damn it. This is so bad. So I'm like, I'll do one last thing. I'll remove the whole description, all bullet points, everything. Just click submit. In 3 weeks, they approved it. Even though Jeff's team, even though Jeff says it's impossible, it still get restored. And then I put everything back as it was from the lawyer, that the lawyer checked everything and put everything back, and they never touched us again. So this is how Amazon works, where people who are like thinking it will never be reinstated or something, just keep on doing it. Remove everything, put it back, because Amazon is like, they're bots. Bots are catching it, and then people who are maybe not very skilled in these things, they work on that and they don't understand that everything is good already. So make sure that if you get, like if bots find something, make sure that you clean everything and then submit it as many times. I know people right now, one person contacted me a couple of days ago. He like, I cannot get my Start Central open because they keep on declining my documents. I'm like, submit 3 times and they will. He submitted the same documents 3 times and they will. And they did. So this is what happens with Amazon, unfortunately. So
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I always tell people that like Amazon's just a big bot. There's like no person that, yeah, you can call a person on the phone, but even they have to like submit to the bot, right? So that's why I'm like, you got to get your listing set up correctly, and you're thinking about what the bot wants and thinks and desires and stuff, and we're addressing that big giant robot. Unfortunately, there's not real. There are humans, but not really. So that's definitely the piece of advice I give everybody. Hey guys, I got some good news for you. We have a webinar coming up this coming week. If you're listening to this when it downloaded or within a few days of this episode being fresh and new and recently downloaded, we have a webinar coming out on June 15th. It's a masterclass, a live masterclass on listing conversions. So listing conversions is like how to make your listing perfect and beautiful and make it pop and get those conversion rates higher. The big thing that we want with conversions, of course, we have the same products, the same photography, the same everything. If we can bump our conversions by just a few percentage points, it dramatically increases our sales and dramatically increases our profits. So it's really, really important that you learn how to do proper conversion and proper listing optimization. So a big thing they're going to cover is the buyer intent on how to maximize conversions and figure out, like, when people search certain things, what are they wanting? What's their intent behind that search, right? Also, we're going to go behind enemy lines and figure out how to analyze our competitors. This is like crazy. If you figure out the kind of keywords and the kind of ways that your competitors are doing their listings, it gets you crazy awesome insight into how you can match them and then exceed them. Like I always say, look at what your competition is doing, figure out why they're doing it, and do it better. Also, we're going to avoid the A9 apocalypse. The A9 apocalypse is like the rank, and the A9 algorithm is the rank thing of the on Amazon. And I don't know if you guys follow the news at all, but like last month there was a bit of a shakeup on the A9 algorithm. So we're going to figure out how to avoid the A9 apocalypse, and we're going to give you a listing optimization checklist. So kind of the 1, 2, 3, 4 checklist on exactly what to do for your listings. Honestly, that is so valuable. We took that same checklist and we went through our entire listings, and we brought our listing conversion rates on average from 13% to 14.5%. 1%, is that a big deal? I mean, it doesn't feel like it's a big deal, right? Who cares what 1%? Let's think about it. 13% to 14.5%. Okay, that means that we had a 10% increase in conversions, which means 10% increase in revenue. We didn't pay really anything for it. We didn't have to buy more products. We didn't have to do any more launches. We didn't have to do any any craziness. We just got 10% boost in sales. And those sales, that like extra conversion, those are the most profitable sales because all of our overheads covered in other places, and those sales are just like the best, right? So really, honestly, it's a fantastic checklist. And also, we're going to figure out the ranking secrets of all of us 7-figure sellers. And also, my buddy Dan Ashburn and Luke Knight are coaching this. They're doing this webinar. They're both absolutely fantastic, literally the best in the industry. I have been on many working calls and conferences and like work parties and everything. I see them almost every single week talking about listing conversions. Just fantastic group of people who are going to be discussing this stuff. So if you're interested, June 15th at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. GMT, which is UK time. So if you're on the West Coast United States, noon if you are on the East Coast United States, and 4 p.m. if you are in Western Europe. So guys, come check it out. It's gonna be a fantastic time, fantastic information, well worth your time. The link to reserve your spot is in the show notes. Check it out, click that link, sign up. It's all free right now. It will be going behind a paywall later if you do not watch it live. So come check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Amazon, yeah, it's just a big bot. That's cannot do much about it.
Yep.
So what happens next is we got back, but unfortunately, our competitors just launched a lot of products looked like ours. So when we went back, we had less reviews. They had the same thing, so we were not able to compete anymore. And the product was selling, but never as good as before. So it's very important to timing. It's very, very important. So at some point, we dropped that product, but it still gave us quite few A, learnings, and B, it gave us some nice profits to reinvest. So we invested in new products that we're working on now, that I'm also planning to discontinue because I have other issues. But those products allowed us to start traveling. So at some point, I moved to remote jobs. So I quit the consultancy, and I started to do remote development for a company, but I could be anywhere in the world. So me and my wife decided, my son was born, he was 3 months old. So we took a dog and his son and we said, we're going to go travel the world because now is the time. I don't have any other time. So we took everyone and we just went to Europe. So went to Israel.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think maybe many of the long-term listeners know that my wife and I did a full journey where we did 32 countries inside of 12 months. So we did. That's actually this podcast started while I was on the road, while I was traveling around. And so, man, having done that during or like before COVID happened, I was so thankful to get
Yeah,
out around the world because of that.
you tell me, I'm
But
good. Yeah.
where are you? So you went to Europe, but you're based in sort of based in Bali right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm planning to stay here for about 3 4 months. It's the most COVID-free place where people are. They don't wear masks. Everything is open. You can go to gym.
Really?
You can enjoy yourself, and the weather is good. And just a lot of entrepreneurs, like a lot of Amazon sellers, a lot of mind. Masterminds are happening here. I'm part of a couple good communities here, so meeting like some of the most amazing people all over the world are all flocking in here and just working together, masterminding, building projects. So I'm really, really grateful for being here. It was hard to get here. Yeah. So right now I'm in Bali, but it wasn't. I mean,
Tell me though, tell
yeah.
me the story of being in Europe with a 3-month-old baby and traveling around
Yeah, and the dog. Actually, trailing the dog is
and a
much harder
dog.
than with a baby. But what I want to say is that I mean, the being a remote developer and having an Amazon business together allowed me to be able to travel. So I would be I was working some hours on remote job, and I was working some hours on Amazon. I would start hiring out, so I would have people who are helping me with Amazon, so they would do most of the tasks, like because my wife was busy with the baby, would hire a VA who would do. She usually would do finance and shipments, and I would do like strategy and stuff like that, and networking and finding the resources. So her part would be done by VA, because her part is creating labels and finances. We'll hire a bookkeeper, accountant, and a VA, and they would do most of her things, and she would focus on managing those people. So then we would have a little bit of free time. We landed first. I was studying wine at that point. Now I don't drink for about a year and a half, but at that point I was really big in studying wine. Before that, I will go to different wineries with my wife and just like in everywhere. But my dream was to go to Burgundy. Burgundy is like where the best wines are: Chardonnays, Pinot Noirs, like the mecca of wine. If Silicon Valley is the mecca of developers, this is like Silicon Valley of wine. So first we went to Latvia, Israel, visited all of our parents to show them the baby because they don't live in Canada. And then we went to Dijon, which is in Burgundy, and we spent a month there going to wineries and trying amazing wines, talking to winemakers. It's like dream come true. I can work and I also can spend the time on my hobby, which is wine, and try the most amazing wines in the world in this beautiful, like go to the beautiful wineries and talk to people who are local there. It was just one of the most amazing things, I'll be honest. And 3 year old
I
was
love
good.
it.
The dog was good. Everybody likes my dog. We could take my dog everywhere to restaurants because French really like dogs. Spain, Spanish people not so much. Then went to Spain because we wanted to lie in the sun. It was getting colder, and we always wanted not to have winter. One of the reasons we also want to travel is to avoid winter because, well, in Toronto, winter is very harsh. In Latvia, winter is very harsh. Vancouver, not that bad, but rainy. We went to Malaga, Spain, where it was very very nice. Like there's a beach walk, and then you walk there and you enjoy it. My wife's parents came for a couple of weeks. We all spent time together, walking, enjoying ourselves. Every day I would plunge in a cold sea because it was season. The sea was very cold, about 11 degrees, but I loved that. So I would go to the beach. I would plunge in the sea. When my son will play in the sun, we'll have our morning routines. We'll go on the beach all together. We would spend some time, then eat fresh seafood. So it was really, really nice. And then work on a business. And I would do some remote work. I'd rent a co-working place and just go and spend some hours working on my work. It was really really good. The dream come true, I'll be honest. And then the next stop was Portugal, because we decided to spend 1 month everywhere. Then we realized with a 1 year old is not, oh sorry, with a small kid, now he's 2 year old, but at some point he became 1 year old. It's not as easy to do, like changing places so often. So at some point we went to Lisbon, which was amazing. And here's where traveling with the dog is much harder than with a kid. I remember one time we were flying from Malaga, Spain to Lisbon, and we came to the counter of the airport. We have everything booked, and they told us, you know what, your dog vaccine expired yesterday, so you cannot fly. We're like, damn it, we have 1 year old and a dog, and it's low season, so hotels, most of them are closed. So we're like on a street in Spain with like all the family, all the bags. We're like, damn it, we're scratching to find some shitty hotel somewhere in the suburbs of Malaga, and we did that. And the next day we went to she made the shot, and they told us, you know what, you need to wait a month here, because the quarantine time is about a month. And we're like, damn, what are we gonna do? We have like those
Oh.
expensive Airbnb booked in Lisbon. So we're like, do they have borders in the European Union? No. So we rent the car. We just drove to Lisbon in a car. It was like one day we drove to like, I don't know, 10 hours, 15 hours, I don't know. But well, we did that, and the dog is fine. But then we landed in Lisbon, also amazing place. I love surfing. And I was like so happy. Our friends was also there. We could together we could surf during the day. I could work during nights. It was amazing. I mean, it was dream come true again. The amazing food. Our son would be going to this little daycare with all the Portuguese kids. He would speak. He would try to count Portuguese and speak Portuguese, understand Portuguese. Crazy. That was good. They were like, okay, now we want to go to Bali. And it was about a year ago. So went back to Latvia, visiting the parents. We're like, I don't like to stay a lot in Latvia. It's pretty depressing there. And I moved out of there, so I don't want to stay there for long. And you know what happened? It was March. So at some point, COVID hit.
Oh no.
And Latvia closed borders, so we cannot go anywhere. And they like they closed all the stores, everything, borders, like just shut down of the country. And we're like, damn it, now we're gonna stay here. We cannot go anywhere. The only place we can go to Canada, but I don't want to go back to Canada. I like to travel. So, and then we spent 5 months locked in Latvia. 5 months. It was crazy. But then finally the Bali was closed, and then we went back to Portugal. We spent a couple months there again. It was amazing. Then went to Valencia, Spain. Then went back to Latvia, and they closed Bali. They opened the Bali. We went to Latvia to leave a dog and go to Bali. They closed Bali again. So we never could not get to Bali. And then at some point, we're just like, oh, screw it. We'll just continue traveling Europe. We went to Valencia in Spain, spent some time there. Also amazing place. And then Bali opened, and then we just went here, spent couple months in Jakarta in quarantine, and just staying here now and enjoying every single day. Like every day I wake up and like blessed just to be here and to have this life. One thing happened during COVID. My work, of course, clients. There was not too many clients, so they cut my hours, which I actually wanted to do myself because I find that working on Amazon, I need just more time to do it. So they cut my hours, and I work less. I work part-time now with a consultancy, and I do a bunch of work on Amazon. And at some point at that time, when they cut hours, I had some free time. I decided to record a podcast as accountability tool because I was procrastinating. I was not doing that much. Joining Titans and like learning from you guys was amazing, but also I still was procrastinating. I was like, I need some accountability tool. I need to learn from the best because I think the next level for me would be, we had two products at that point. Each of them were making $100,000. So it was pretty good. But we had issues launching our third product, lots of stress, and the products we're launching Amazon didn't like that much. So they had a lot of regulations around it. So it was hard. And so at some point, like I need accountability tool. I want to launch a new brand, do everything right, could cut lots of corners. I'm not cutting corners anymore, and I'm gonna just do everything great. I'm just gonna get out of supplement space because all products are supplements. We had lots of issues like Chinese sellers and all those fakes and all those, our products are melting. It's crazy things. So I was like, I'm going to build this brand, kitchen brand. I'm going to do a podcast. And here I am building the kitchen brand and doing a podcast, talking to amazing people, learning from them. I'm hiring mentors right now. So I'm paying for mentorship. I'm just doing a lot
Nice.
just to grow myself and grow this business. Sorry, long story. I know it's a long story.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. That's great. And so I think we can probably turn this into a two-parter. So let's go ahead and stop this as part one, and we'll jump into part two in the next episode.
Let's do it.